What is up, everybody? 10 months. I was checking right before I went live just now. And forgive me, I'm 10 minutes late. My camera wasn't working. I got it solved and figured out. And I have lots of different topics I want to discuss regarding the Packers as we get closer and closer to the season. It is now August 17th, which means we're now, basically 3.5 or so weeks until the actual 2023 season starts. And so we've obviously gotten to see more and more of Jordan Love. We saw some in training camp. We saw one preseason game so far. And I wanted to start off by talking about the Packers and sort of how they're viewed outside of maybe Green Bay, because I think all of us fans have our own ideas. But my question to sort of start off is, are the Packers being slept on by the media? So, of course, with Rodgers leaving, we lose one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. We lose a legend in Aaron Rodgers, and it's sad that he's in New York, even though, he wanted to move on. But the thing is for the Packers this year is, in a sense, it's almost, I guess in hindsight after the fact, it's almost better that Rodgers had a somewhat down year because the Packers went 8-9. Obviously, would we have wanted to see them go, 13-3, 13-4, whatever it is now because of the 17-game season? Of course, but because of the subpar performance, I do think it gives Jordan Love a little bit of an easier, starting point coming into 2023. Because here's the thing, if Jordan Love wins 8 games in 2023 with the Packers, that matches the Packers last year with Aaron Rodgers. So I don't think that's a crazy idea that the Packers win 8 games in 2023. Is it really that wild of an idea? I really don't think it is. And when you look at Rodgers last year, 14th, the Packers had the 14th ranked scoring offense in the NFL. And Rodgers had the 17th ranked QB rating last season. His adjusted completion percentage was 15th. So he was pretty much a mid-tier quarterback last season. And when we look at the discussion about Jordan Love around the internet, obviously you can pretty much find any opinion on anything. So of course you have the people who don't believe in Jordan Love, believe he's a bust. And here's the thing with, I think, calling a quarterback with one NFL start a bust, I just don't think you can do it. Can you predict that he's going to be bad? Okay, you saw him in college, you saw him in a preseason game, but can you really predict a guy's going to be a bust and be terrible after one NFL start? Jordan Love has one NFL start, only one. And so that's why I think, obviously, it's hard to judge the Packers, and because of just the unknown and the uncertainty of Jordan Love, that is why it is so difficult to really to know what the Packers are going to be, because we don't really know what Jordan Love is. We have some bits and pieces, and I think that we have more of an idea after seeing him in this preseason and training camp of what he can be, but the reality is that we still don't fully know, which is why I think there's so many differing opinions, and lots of the Packers' success does come down to the play of Jordan Love this next season. But here's what I think. I think that when you look at what Jordan Love has done so far in camp, you look at I think he's had up and down days. Today was a down day per reporters, and when you look at that fact, you look at the fact that he has had some good moments. You look at that preseason game. Overall, I think it was a solid day for Jordan Love. 7 of 10, I think 46 yards, a touchdown. Of course, he had that missed throw, another missed throw to the screen that went that got tipped by the defender. It wasn't a great throw, but I think we've seen enough positives from Jordan Love to give me some. I guess I feel comfortable with what he's going to be just at a floor level, because if he was out here constantly having terrible days, that would have me worried. But yes, has he had up and down days? Yes, of course he had. He's a young quarterback in the league. But I still think that he's shown, at least from the reports I've seen from different beat reporters coming out of camp and seeing him in the preseason, it looks like he's, making wise decisions most times. Today, he didn't seem to make any, or lots of wise decisions. But I think that's clearly going to happen with a young quarterback in a very young offense. But then I think, when you sort of look at that, he's making lots of right reads, especially in that preseason game. He looks calm, comfortable, poised in the pocket, which I think you look back a couple of years ago, like a game against the Chiefs, he wasn't looking quite like that. He looked a little bit more uncertain, a little more shaky, and I think now he looks much more comfortable in the pocket, which makes sense after 3 seasons. And so I think that he's going to be between the 10th and 15th best quarterback just based off what he's done so far. I think average 15th-ish quarterback in the NFL, just based on what we've seen. And so considering that, I think that the biggest factor for this Packers team is this defense, which we had such high hopes of last season coming into it. We were all talking. I was here saying that I think they're going to be top 5. That was last year. because of the additions here, drafting Devontae Wyatt in the first round, drafting Quay Walker in the first round. I really thought they could be something great with Jaire coming back because the year before he'd only played in 4 or so games. And then, of course, they come in and underperform, which was sad to see. And so because of that, something I was thinking about today is, are we slightly underrating what this Packers defense can be? Because last year we saw the signs of, okay, this team should take a jump forward. But I think because lots of us were burned with the idea that this could be a great defense, that now we're not even contemplating that we could be great, just because it's like, well, we thought that last season. Are we really going to be great this year? But I think that's one underrated aspect of this team is Devontae Wyatt coming into year 2 on the D-line. I'd say this D-line will be better this next season because we had Dean Lowry, Jaron Reed the past couple seasons, and both of them, they're okay. They're solid-ish starters, but I think that a guy like Devontae Wyatt has a much, much higher ceiling. We've seen lots of great things from TJ Slayton in camp and in the preseason, and I really do think that this defense can take a step forward. Because what were we last year? 17th or so in the NFL. I think it was around that, 17th in scoring. And so because I personally do believe that Jordan Love at worst is going to be a mid-tier quarterback, I don't think he's going to be a bottom 10 quarterback. That's just my prediction. And maybe I'm wrong. We'll see once the season gets started, but I do think he'll at least be a mid-tier quarterback, and I think that that's where the floor is. That's my opinion from what I've seen from Love. I think that he has a lot of special to him, and we just haven't really witnessed too much of that yet. Because we haven't really seen him play, but I think it's coming. And so with that D-line being better, hopefully Rashawn Gary will be back. I really do think that this team is being slightly slept on. I do think that when you look at the other teams in the NFC North, I don't see why the Packers can't win the NFC North in 2023. And now let me look at the chat. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat. Oh, thank you. We have Kyler Savage Sports, $10 donation. Thank you. I appreciate that. Go Pack Go. Jordan Love is winning at least 2 or 3 Super Bowls with Matt LaFleur as head coach. I sure hope that is the case. I know all of us Packers fans very much want that to be the case. So what do you guys think? What are you thinking about Jordan Love right now? Obviously, we still haven't seen a ton. We've seen him in one preseason game. We've seen, the different reports and different highlights floating around Twitter. But what do you think about Jordan Love? Do you have any new ideas since, training camp has started about what Jordan Love is going to be? Because, there have been up and down days. Today was a down day. If you guys watched my previous video, all the reports coming out were that the Patriots won the day, that Jordan Love was shaky. I think he threw at least 2 interceptions. I think it was 2. And if we look at the day before that, it looked like the Packers really outdueled the Patriots when it comes to offense and defense yesterday. So that was why I was pretty excited to see that against a Bill Belichick defense. And of course, they're probably not throwing out, everything they're going to show in the season, because I saw, Kurt Benkert, former Packers QB, mentioned in a tweet I saw a few days ago that, these teams don't fully enact their full playbook out there until like the final cuts because they don't want guys, sharing different things. And so we still haven't seen everything we're going to see from the Packers, and it's still so early. And that's why when you see these different reports, I'm still hesitant to, I'm not going to make any conclusion just based off of, one poor day, because I think that's going to happen from time to time, which is why I'm not that concerned about a bad day today for Jordan Love. And 2, you look at all the young talent here. I do think we're going to get better and better as the season progresses, and I hope that is the case as we move forward. Okay, so I want to discuss something I touched on yesterday when it comes to the Packers and David Bakhtiari. So I shared the video about the report that came out from, I'm trying to remember his name, I think it was Armando Salguero. I think that was his name, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that was his name. And I discussed, if you saw yesterday's video, that he reportedly, who knows if it's true, it's tough to know with some of these reports, said that the Jets had at least internally discussed the idea of trading for Bakhtiari. And who knows, is that true? Maybe, maybe not. I wouldn't be shocked, as I mentioned yesterday, if Rodgers wanted Bakhtiari. Why would he not? One of the best tackles in the league, one of his best friends. The Jets, at least from some things I've seen on Twitter, their offensive line seems to be having at least some kind of issues. We also saw that in Hard Knocks. And so that does make sense. But today, this is sort of an update, it's just a little bit more information. So Adam Schefter said this on the Pat McAfee show about this. He said, I haven't heard that the Jets are trying to trade for David Bakhtiari, nor have I heard that Green Bay is interested in moving on from him. This is the best he's felt in a long time, and he's ready to go. So Schefter at least hasn't heard anything, and I do think that nothing's going to happen. I don't think anything's going to happen. And I mentioned yesterday also in my newsletter that unless the Patriots, or not the Patriots, we were just talking Patriots, unless the Jets come in and offer some crazy offer, it doesn't make much sense for the Packers to trade David Bakhtiari because I think the Packers would only save $1.5 million in cap space. They would, they'd only save, 1.5 mil. And I think it's very, very important that the Packers, have a solid left tackle in Jordan Love's first year. Because if we traded away Bakhtiari, maybe we throw Josh Nijman out there. And I think he's a solid tackle, but he's no David Bakhtiari. And even though the past couple of seasons there's been, up and downs for Bakhtiari when it comes to health and his knee and all those different things, he still, when he plays, has still played as one of the better tackles in the NFL. So I just wanted to share that little update that I saw from Adam Schefter. And who knows, maybe if we get to the trade deadline and the Packers are terrible, which hopefully isn't the case, maybe they do something like that, because if the Jets were needing some offensive line help, then maybe at that point, you say, okay, well, might as well get something, because after this season, David Bakhtiari has a $40 million cap hit, so they're either going to need to release him or restructure, extend, whatever that is to lessen that cap hit. So maybe at the trade deadline, if we're terrible, which hopefully we're not, I don't think we will be, but if we were, then maybe you could trade a guy like that and get some draft capital in return if he's not in your long-term plans. And who knows if he is, who knows if Brian Gutekunst is thinking about that or not. Alex, thank you so much for the $10 donation. I really appreciate that. Do you think when Watson takes reps against Jaire that it makes him a better player, possibly even elite because of his size and physical attributes? Iron sharpens iron. Yes, I would say, I think anytime, any athlete out there, Packers player, whatever it is, if you're facing off against the best of the best every single day in practice, it forces you to adapt to try to figure out how to beat a guy like that. So I do think, to have a cornerback of Jaire's caliber definitely makes these receivers better. Sure, they may have, struggle more during practice, but you would assume they get to a game day and Christian Watson is used to going against Jaire every single day. He may be like, wow, these guys are not quite as good as Jaire. This is a little easier here. So I do think that definitely helps Watson as well as Jaire, because I think Watson I think this year he's going to really become a top receiver in this league. We saw it in spurts last year, but I think that with a full year under his belt, receivers really do take a big jump from their first year to second year. I think we're going to see Watson really do a lot this year, and I grabbed him in my fantasy draft round 4. I'm pumped to have him on my team. I think he's going to be great, and I also think Dobbs is too. I think he's more slept on, at least in fantasy football. I think that he's going like 13, 14, 15th round. I think Dobbs is also going to have a great year, because with Watson out there and his speed, it's going to create openings for other guys like Romeo Dobbs, like Jaden Reed. But again, Alex, thank you for the $10 donation. That is very kind of you. Appreciate it. All right, so I want to share a injury update that I saw in the past couple hours. Slightly concerning. This is from Matt Schneidman, and he said Devondre Campbell missed his second straight practice with an ankle injury. He wasn't in the locker room during post-practice media availability, but I saw a scooter and a walking boot at his locker. So I'd already seen that Devondre Campbell missed practice for 2 days, but to hear he has a boot and a scooter, that clearly shows that there's an issue there. Hopefully we get some more information as to what the Packers think about this and how long will he be out. And to lose him would be definitely a big blow to this defense, because, when we picked him up a couple of years back, he really, I think, drastically helped this defense improve. So let's hope that this isn't serious. Let's hope that, maybe it's not precautionary because it's already happened, but maybe he's just trying to be super safe with that boot. But that's slightly concerning. Hopefully we get some news that this isn't, gonna force him to be out a long time, because of course Quay Walker's going to be out there alongside Devondre Campbell. But if we lose Devondre, that definitely hurts his defense. Who knows? Maybe I don't know exactly. I have no idea about how long he'll be out. But slightly concerning there, because if he's out, will we have like Isaiah McDuffie potentially next to Quay Walker, which McDuffie's been fine. Honestly, I feel like I like his play. He's very aggressive. But we'll keep an eye on that one, and I'll keep you guys up to date on that as well. Alex Munoz, I love the channel and growth. By the way, you're the GOAT. Thank you, Alex. Mitch Staff, what's it like living in cowboy country as a Packers fan? It's not too bad. Yeah, I do live in Dallas, Texas, and it's hot. That's something that's going on here. It's 107 right now, or 108 maybe. So it's hot. But I don't really come. I mean, besides my friends, I don't talk with that many Cowboys fans out here. Talk to some. I always like to remind them about Dez not catching it. They like to tell me he did, but I remind them he in fact did not catch the ball. So that's always fun. Also, the one playoff game we beat them, that was also fun to share as well. Kyler Savage Sports, dude, thank you so much. Another donation, I appreciate you. Early draft pick for 2024, what position, and can we sign top free agents in 24 and 25? Early draft pick, what position? Okay, so we should have 2 first-round draft picks next season, which, I mean, as long as Rodgers plays 65% of snaps, we will have 2 first-round picks. So we should, which is awesome. What position? That's a good question. I've spent 0 time thinking about the 2024 draft right now, but I would say our receiver room is pretty solid. We have lots of young talent there, so I don't think, I mean, you can never have too much receiver talent, so I don't think it's necessarily a need next year, but if there's a guy there, maybe, you really bolster this unit. I think that tackle could be a big need next offseason, so potentially using a 2024 first on a tackle could be huge, especially if Bakhtiari isn't back because of his massive cap hit. The Packers could release him. He may not be here next year, so in 2024. So I think getting a left tackle in the first round to replace him and be here for years and years could make lots of sense. And I do think next year we'll have more of an ability, Kyler, to sign different free agents especially because of the cap hit of Rodgers, which is like, I think it's, 40-something million this year, the dead cap hit, which will be off our books next year. So we will have an ability to sign free agents, and I feel like the Packers will be more active than they were this year because we just didn't have much space, to be completely honest. But thank you, Kyler, for that. Daniel, watch your videos every day. Awesome content. Dude, I appreciate that. Kyler, you say running back. We should draft a running back. I don't think I'd use a first-round pick on a running back just because I feel like you've seen so many examples of, different running backs you can find in later rounds. Like Isaiah Pacheco, 7th round, wasn't Aaron Jones a 4th-round pick. Dylan was a 2nd-rounder. And I feel like in today's running back market, I just don't think using a first-round pick on a running back is like the best use of your draft pick. I think that other positions much more important. I would much rather spend a first-round pick on an offensive lineman than a running back, because I think that O-line more important than running back, because if your O-line can open up holes and you have a somewhat talented back, they're gonna play well. That's why I'm just hesitant to ever pay running backs a ton of money. Even a couple of years back, I remember saying that I thought the Packers shouldn't pay Aaron Jones, and I love Aaron Jones, but just from a financial perspective, I think in the NFL it doesn't make much sense to pay running backs, to be honest. Ben says we should draft a safety. Yeah, safety, definitely a need. Definitely a need. We'll see if any of these safeties here rise to the top, because, right now in training camp, it sort of seemed like the past few days and the past couple of weeks, it's sort of been fluctuating. Like Rudy Ford started out there in the beginning, and then as time went on, it seems that he's sort of been pushed down the depth chart, and guys like Tarvarius Moore was starting there today, Jonathan Owens yesterday, who I'm not really sold on, who was a starter for the Texans, but he just had a super poor coverage grade per PFF. So, yeah, I think safety will definitely be a need. Cody Moody, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Love your content. Yes, especially, Colin Cowherd. I know sometimes you need clicks, but still, J Love hasn't even played a season in the Packers overall. I love Colin Cowherd. I enjoy reacting to his things because I enjoy watching him. He's entertaining. Even though lots of the time I do not agree. But it's fun I like to see what everyone else is saying about what's going on in the league, and it's fun to give your own thoughts because everyone has an opinion. And it's fun to see what's going on out there. Tom says, any news on Devondre Campbell? Yeah, I just shared it a little earlier. it came out that he missed the past 2 practices with an ankle injury, and then he also, according to Matt Schneidman, had a scooter and a walking boot at his locker. So that is concerning. Hopefully it doesn't keep him out too long because we definitely need him. So we'll see there. Kyler Savage Sports says kicker is a need. I think that's what you're meaning. Yeah. I mean, right now, Anders Carlson, I am worried. I am slightly worried. I do think, though, because the Packers spent a 6th-round draft pick on him, they're probably going to allow him to hopefully get better. And I hope he does. It's been a few weeks now, and he's been pretty inconsistent. Missed a couple PATs, has done it at practice. And it seems like he has the leg, like he has the power to make long field goals, but he's just struggling. And I shared a video a few days back where he said that it seems to him that it's like a tempo problem. He's rushing a little too much, which is causing him to miss to the right. So I really do hope the Packers can, hopefully he can figure that out and solve those problems because, if we're in big moments in the season and that happens, clearly that's not going to be great. So there's not too many free agent guys out there right now. There's a few older guys. Obviously, Mason Crosby is still out there, but Crosby, at least the past few seasons, I think he only made 9 50-plus field goals in the past 4 years, and he was 1 for 4 last year. I did see someone showed me that he posted a video of him kicking like 60-yard field goals, and apparently last year he had some kind of injury, and he didn't really ever fully get back. So maybe he's better with the offseason, and maybe he can kick those deep balls again. So I think that in the long run, it's better to find a younger kicker because clearly we need a guy for years and years. But maybe for the short term, if Carlson struggles, I do think I would rather have a veteran in there who at least can hopefully consistently make kicks. Cody Moody, once again, thank you for the donation. I appreciate you. Speaking of Devondre Campbell, he played at Hutch Community College where I work. I'm happy to see him go to the Pack. Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that he went there. That's awesome. Him and Rodgers at the community college making it to the league. That's pretty sweet to see. And that's cool that he went there. Where is Hutch Community College? I have no idea where that is. Bite Me says breakout player equals Musgrave. Yeah, I do think that Musgrave is. I hope that he breaks that what typically happens with tight ends, where year 1 tight ends typically don't erupt. It's usually year 2 because of all the different things they have to learn. But the Packers have been using him so much in practices with like jet sweeps, and Love targets him all the time. So I think a guy with that kind of speed and that size is going to be a problem for defenses, and I'm excited to see him develop not only this year, the next couple seasons. Hopefully he can grow with Love, and I love the Packers receiving weapons, not only tight end receivers. We have so much young talent, so much speedy talent. Christian Watson, Dobbs, I think is going to be, he's a great receiver, great route runner, always open lots of the time. And Matt LaFleur even mentioned in the offseason that Dobbs reminds him of Devontae Adams. So it's a good company when your coach, throws you up in the same sentence as that. So I'm excited for these young guys, and I can't wait to see the season. It's honestly felt like last season was so long ago. Because it was when we lost to the Lions, and we're so close to the actual start of the season. By Jahika Play says, do you think the Packers have a chance to make the playoffs or even make a run? Do they have a chance? Yes, they definitely have a chance. And I started this thing off, which you can watch later, discussing, the Packers, are they slept on? And I think they are slightly slept on, just because I think that Love is at least going to be an average quarterback. I don't think he's going to be terrible. That's my thoughts after training camp and preseason. And so because of that, it really comes down to me for this defense, because I think this offense will be at least mid-tier. I wonder if this defense can actually be a top defense, because we have guys coming into year 2, which is big. Devontae Wyatt, if he can really come into his own this season, first-round draft pick, and he starts, dominating, hopefully, against the pass, sacking the quarterback, also against the run. And then also, too, once Gary is back, this D-line will be much better. So I am excited to see what this defense can be. Hopefully the safeties don't cause us too many problems. We'll see. Who is a better season, Watson or Dobbs? I'll go Watson. Yeah, definitely Watson. But I think that Dobbs is also going to have a great year. But I think Watson's deep threat ability and just his ability to take like a crossing route to the house is going to allow him to be insanely productive this season, with Jordan Love probably targeting him the most on the team, I would guess. But I still think, too, that Dobbs is also going to have a solid year. You hope Stokes can contribute a role in the secondary this season. Yeah, we'll see. I hope he comes back from being injured soon, because it's been a while. Because he injured, I think he was injured the same game as Rashawn Gary. So clearly that was a big injury for him. We'll see if he can come back soon, and if he does, will he outduel Rasul at outside corner? We'll have to wait and see what happens there. Dakota says, am I wrong when I say the Packers have the speediest group of receivers and tight ends other than the Dolphins in this year? I'm not for certain about the speeds of every receiver room, but this definitely has to be one of the fastest. Definitely one of the fastest. Christian Watson, 4.36. Jaden Reed, 4.37. And then for tight end, Luke Musgrave at, 4.66, I think. They definitely have to be one of the speediest. I do. You mentioned the Dolphins. I still think the Dolphins with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle probably still up there. Here we have, I agree with Love as an average to above average quarterback in year one. Good take. I'm afraid about Joe Barry and his zone defense. We're at our best in man-to-man, bump and run. Just look at Ja versus Justin Jefferson and the Vikings. Yeah, no, I agree, because we had that week one. Wasn't it week one last year where we got obliterated? Justin Jefferson got 160, 170, 180 yards. And then the second time, Jair was on him most of the game. And did he have a catch? Maybe he had one catch? Yeah. But no, I tend to agree with you. Who has more interceptions, Love or Fields? Fields, definitely Fields. That's my guess. I do think Fields is going to have a better year than last year, because how could he not with a better offensive line with DJ Moore? I think Fields will be improved. Clearly, he's an elite runner, because he had one of the best quarterback rushing years of all time. The question for him is, can he become a solid passer? But I would say I'm much more confident in Jordan Love's passing ability compared to Justin Fields, definitely. Watson ran a 4.28 and just torched a Bengal. Was that an unofficial time? Because I thought his official time was 4.36. Who do you see more as a Jordy Nelson 2.0, Dobbs or Watson? I don't know, because what was Jordy Nelson's 40 time? Let me just check. 4.51. Maybe more Dobbs, because Watson, I just think he is not built like your even average NFL receiver. He's more like a Randy Moss type, within that insane height, speed, everything. Goat Mike Hoopin says, we making the playoffs this year? Lots of people overreacting too soon. I sure hope so. I don't think it's that far-fetched for the Packers to make the playoffs. I really don't. The NFC is weaker than the AFC. I'm not sold on the Vikings being that much better than the Packers. They had so many close games last year, and I think they're going to regress in that area. So I don't think it's crazy. I definitely think that if the Packers make the playoffs, that's a great year for Love to make the playoffs in your first year. And that's where, too, if you look at Rodgers in his first season, he starts, they go 6-10. But it's not because Rodgers wasn't playing well. It's not because the offense wasn't playing well, because they were the fifth best scoring offense in the NFL in Rodgers' first season, but the defense was real bad. So honestly, if the Packers win 7, 8, 9 games, that's a really successful season for a first-year quarterback. And I can't wait to actually watch the real season, because obviously we can talk about training camp, we can talk about the preseason games, but it's until the Packers are out there and game planning for week one for exactly how they want to attack the Bears and really showing everything they want to show and bringing it all out, we're not really going to know exactly how good Love is. Clearly, you can take away stuff from training camp and preseason, but I'm just ready to see him in some live regular season games. Goat Mike says, I'm not sold on the Lions, Bears, or Vikings. Yeah, that's why I feel like the NFC North is really up in the air. Like, this is one of the first years in a while where it's like, what is going to happen? There's lots of uncertainty with the Packers, no doubt. Lots of it hangs on Jordan Love. The Lions seem to be headed in the right direction, but are they really? Or are they going to be back to being the Lions? We'll have to wait and see. You Hunton says, what stat line do you need to see from Jordan Love to feel like he's the guy going forward for the whole season? That's tough because here's the thing. You look at so many quarterbacks in the league, their first years weren't great. You know, guy like Brett Favre, his first couple of years were not good if you just look at his stats. Like if you just pull up his stats and his touchdown interception ratio, Peyton Manning. The difference between those guys, I guess, is Love has had 3 seasons here, but still he's only started 1 game. So that's why still, even if Love is the 20th best quarterback in 2023, there's no telling. He could take a huge stride forward the next season. Josh Allen in his first couple of years did not look like the guy he is now, and neither did Brett Favre, neither did Peyton Manning. At least if you look at overall stats. But if Love had a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, mid 3,000 yards, I'd be like, that's solid. I really do wonder what are we gonna be, what are we gonna be talking about, by the time the season ends? What is your guys' prediction? Do you think we're gonna it would be great if we just come in and shock the league and win 12 games. Obviously, we all want that to happen if you're a Packers fan. If you're not a Packers fan here, you probably don't want that to happen. But crazier things have happened. That's why it's just so hard to judge a team when you I have confidence in Love. If you watch my videos, I have confidence in Love. I feel like he showed a lot of positive things. Clearly, he doesn't always make the right decisions, but I think we have to give him time. He hasn't started his second game in the league yet, so that's why I'm optimistic. I'm very optimistic. Julia says, yes, they are, but hey, good, let them keep us under the radar. It's always best when you can prove the whole league wrong. I agree. There is a different kind of, excitement when it's no one really expects much from you. Because for years and years with Rodgers, obviously everyone expects playoffs, Super Bowl. Probably Super Bowl. That's the hope every year with Rodgers here. And now this year, the expectations have changed because we just don't know what Love is. And so that's why if we make the playoffs, we're like, sweet, playoffs, all right, we'll take it. If he throws 20 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, are we happy? Yeah, I'd be fine with it. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible. John says Packers 11-6. Go Mike says Joe Barry needs to be creative on defense. Too much talent not to. Yeah, I do think this is a obviously it's a massive year for Jordan Love, but I think it's a much more make or break year for Joe Barry, because if the Packers can't take a step forward this next season, I think the Packers will probably move on. Well, who knows though? Hopefully we can. Which NFC North team is the biggest threat to the Packers? Definitely between the Lions and the Vikings, but it's a toss-up for me. Honestly, I'd say they're evenly matched. What's up, Matthew? Prolific says we are taking the NFC North back from the Vikings. Cameron, Joe Barry needs to not dwell. Oh, wait, where'd it go? To not dwell in the zone scheme, and he needs to mix it up a bit. Yeah, here's one other topic I wanted to discuss here. And it has to do with Jordan Love. So it came out earlier today from Rob Demovsky saying, when asked whether he'd be more inclined to play Jordan Love this Saturday versus New England or in next week's preseason finale, LaFleur said, I don't know yet. So it sounds like Love may not be playing in one of these final preseason games. And personally, I feel like the Packers should play him in both preseason games just to get more experience. I feel like that's valuable, but I don't know. Maybe the Packers are just worried about injuries. Maybe They don't want to show any more Jordan Love before week 1. Keep it hidden from what he can actually be before we face the Bears. I don't know, but I think the Packers should start Jordan Love in each game. And honestly, before the first week, I was thinking to myself, why don't we just play Jordan Love the entire game? Like, why not just play him the whole game and allow him to get a ton more experience, allow him to be out there much more before the season gets started. But I understand coaches don't want to risk injury because clearly if a guy went down in the preseason, then everyone's going to be on the coach like, why in the world did you start him more than 2 drives? How dare you? You know what I mean? But personally, I think that I hope the Packers will at least play him in the next 2 preseason games. But it doesn't seem like it's necessarily a given per Rob Demovsky. So we'll have to watch there and see what happens there. Or not per Rob Demovsky, but he shared that quote from Matt LaFleur. Goat Mike says we need to use way more screenplays and be more creative in the run game and pass. Everything we do, offense or defense, need to be creative. Yeah, creativity, definitely great. I feel like the Packers offense with Matt LaFleur here is pretty creative. Lots of motion, play action passes. And that's why I do think that Love has a solid floor here just because of Matt LaFleur's scheme, because of the talented receivers, because of the speedy receivers. Because if you look at, the 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo, who I'd say is a mid-tier to below average quarterback who has played in a very good scheme for years and years. He just hits the open guys, and if Love can just make good decisions and be average, then the Packers can still be a successful team. And that's why I think the floor is somewhat higher on Love than like a bottom 10 quarterback. But we'll have to see, though. Brian Hackney, if we do trade Bakhtiari, could we trade for a New York defensive player, inside linebacker? We could. What's their inside linebacker group look like? I mean, because with Devondre Campbell's injury, I have no idea how long he's going to be out. But if a guy has a boot on, that seems like a problem. But we'll have to see what the issue is there. See, Sean Clifford should get more experience too. Packers might decide they need him. Yeah, I'm excited to see Sean Clifford again because I think that watching him on last Friday's game was just fun. Like, he's fun to watch because he's willing to sling it like Brett Favre. Not saying he's as good as Brett Favre. Who the heck knows? But it's fun watching a quarterback who slings it like that. And I will be excited to see what he can do this next game. And I think he's going to be a solid backup. Definitely, in my mind, has won the backup job in Green Bay. And he's probably just going to get better as time goes by. And if he can clean up his interception problem, which who knows, then he could be solid. Michael says, I wonder how much of LaFleur's play calling we actually saw from Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, we don't exactly know because clearly a guy like Rodgers can change things at the line, which probably is beneficial considering he is a football genius. But I'm curious to see Love in Matt LaFleur's scheme. Prolific says, Clifford is a man, I just met him and got his autograph today. That's sweet. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, what do you guys think today? Jordan Love had a not so great day at practice per different reports. I think he threw 2 interceptions. And I don't think that's that big a deal. Obviously, a young quarterback's going to have bad days. And I think that moving forward, we'll just have to see. Hopefully that doesn't continue and he bounces back in the next couple of days. But I think that, the Patriots won the first day and the Packers won the first day, the Patriots won the next day. So I don't think it's necessarily concerning. Sean Clifford is Majowski 2.0. All right, guys. Well, I'm about to head off from this live. It's been about 40 minutes. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I may do more in the future. It's my first one in a while. But I appreciate all you guys stopping by to talk Packers here. I enjoy hearing different people's thoughts. So thank you to everyone who commented and to you guys who donated. I appreciate you guys a ton. And we got 2 days till the Packers preseason game against the Patriots. Hopefully Love plays. I want to see some more Jordan Love out there. That's all I have for this one. I appreciate you guys. Oh, right before the stream ends, Cheddarhead with a $19.99 donation. Thank you so much. That is so kind of you. Sup, love that you don't drag out your videos. No BS, straight to the point. Great stuff, man. Keep it up. Rasul at safety might be a game changer on defense. No, I agree with that. Rasul at safety Carrington Valentine at corner, Rasul at safety. Who knows? Well, thank you, Cheddarhead, for that donation. It's very kind of you. But that's it for this one, and I'll see you guys next time.